Hello, I am super excited to be speaking to leaders who are spearheading change initiatives in their respective communities. Ubuntu, what a theme! By putting this together, DO has shown that we can come together to take action for sustainable development. Thank you, DO. I am confident that Nigeria and Africa will feel the impact of this. Some time ago, at the mining summit in Saudi Arabia, a representative of Tesla, the world's largest manufacturer and seller of electric vehicles, approached Nigeria's Minister for Solid Minerals with a request to mine lithium from Nigeria. Lithium is one of the key minerals for manufacturing electric vehicle batteries and has become highly sought after because global energy economics is shifting towards renewables, even as communities, corporations, and countries are racing against time to save the planet. As a matter of fact, some of the major players in the traditional auto industry have already set targets to make a switch from gas-fueled vehicle manufacturing to producing electric cars. General Motors by 2035 and Kia by 2045, for instance. Against this backdrop, lithium has been described as a mineral of the future. As the price of lithium is set to triple by 2030 due to the increasing demand, some have dubbed this mineral resource the new oil. Nigeria is rich in high-grade lithium, and although its lithium deposits are still largely untapped, based on 2019 figures, Nigeria is the 11th largest producer of lithium in the world and the 3rd largest in Africa. It was against this backdrop that Tesla approached Nigeria to ask for a license to mine lithium for its electric car batteries. Guess what? Nigeria said no to Tesla. Well, not no entirely. There was a condition. Based on the Nigeria Mineral Value Chain Regulation, Tesla was only going to get a license to mine lithium in Nigeria if the company was ready to set up a production outlet in the lithium-ion batteries value chain, which could range from cathode production to electric vehicles batteries manufacturing here in Nigeria. However, Tesla was seeking to mine solid minerals from Nigeria. It wasn't seeking to set up a production shop in Nigeria. As such, no deal was negotiated. This decision by the Nigerian government was severely criticized, even by some reputable analysts, because it deprived Nigeria of urgently needed foreign exchange. In 2022, when this encounter with Tesla was revealed, Nigeria was dealing with over $2 billion worth of revenue shortfall due to oil theft. To many, Tesla's offer would have provided some respite. However, others saw this decision as a long-awaited realization by Nigeria, a country that derives 80% of its revenue from oil rent, that it was unsustainable to remain a rancher economy. What is a rancher economy? A rancher economy is one that derives most or all of its revenue from licensing or renting its natural resources to foreign countries or corporations. This penchant to live on rent as against value-added production breeds national laziness and results in the underdevelopment of critical sectors. Rancher states have often been diagnosed with this phenomenon known as Dutch disease, a condition in which countries tend to depend excessively on the natural resource sectors of the economy to the neglect of other sectors, especially the real sector. In the context of political economy, the rentier state model results in low political participation because the citizens have low stakes in the economy. This is why the MENA states, the countries of the Middle East and North Africa region, which are rich in oil, are mostly dictatorships or pseudo-democracies. In sub-Saharan Africa, the rentier economy model has led to resource-related conflicts, a high level of inequality and exclusion, a low scorecard in the human development indicators, from education to life expectancy to income per capita. It has also institutionalized corruption in the form of what Professor Richard Joseph described as prebendalism. a situation in which public office holders feel entitled to a share of the nation's revenues. In contrast, a hyper-productive economy is one that attains an exceptional level of efficiency and performance in value addition. In the highly competitive global economy, there is a spectrum of disparities in revenues, wages, and per capita income based on a country's positioning on the global value chain. Across this spectrum, the rentier economies tend to post lower average wages and revenues compared to the productive economies. At Remake Africa, we call this spectrum the 4 Ds of value in the Global Shakara Index. You heard me right. The Global Shakara Index. This is how we describe the relative weight or nuisance value that a country, continent, or region brings to the negotiation table in international trade. These 4 Ds of the global value chain are the designers, the developers, the device couplers, and the dirt diggers. Now, let's test how this works. Take a look at your mobile phone, for instance. It was likely designed in the United States. The microprocessor chip was likely developed in South Korea. Different parts of the device were likely coupled in China, while the natural resources, cobalt and coltan, were likely dug from dirt by miners in Congo DRC. Which of these 4 will get the least pay? The designer, the developer, the device coupler, or the dirt digger? I leave that to you to ponder on. For countries to make the transition from the rentier to the productive economy model, certain essentials are non-negotiable. These include visionary, value-based and decisive leadership, systematic planning, political will or the power of policy execution, institutional and bureaucratic reforms, agile governance structures driven by subnational competitiveness, investment in human capital development with focus on innovation, investment in data mining as a 5th factor of production, a linkage between knowledge and industry, an enabling environment for the private sector, and a capacity to renegotiate the international economic order. Dear friends, a certain economic and business model created the 20th century Africa. That Africa that today is described as third world. But the 21st century Africa, the Africa that will transit from third world to first, will evolve in the context of a new economic model. You may call that model the hyper-productive economy. Thank you.